All right, so for the new people that are new to working with me, um, I just had someone actually asking me on Messenger about this too, about warranty. So I figured I'd actually just take the time since it's fresh and new people come in and everything else. And technically, while the online website, I don't really use it for sales stuff, but that has a standard one on there. But that's setups because if you just have a click and purchase thing, you don't know who the heck's on the other side of that. So you got to be pretty thorough. That being said, as you guys see from, I loaded that baby up one time in total since revamping and creating that one, and then I immediately was like, no, I didn't even actually sell a single fish off of the website. I do it all manually. I like that better. I don't like a website. It's just hard pill for me to swallow. I tried it again. I have a web designer friend. So essentially, that website is just a shell. It's a shell. It's a good place for me to be able to keep updating reviews and such like that. If I get them from time to time, it can be difficult because I don't like monitoring 2 pages on Facebook. So I used to have constantly actually an HD Herp business page, but that was back in reptiles, and then I converted that actually over to betas even, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. So ultimately, I really only have time to manage 1 page. So just for you guys to understand this too, like even for the people that are here now that have reached out to me on Instagram, sometimes I don't even get back to you for like 3 days, but the people who actually contact me on Messenger are getting back, responses right away. I do too much all the time with you guys to be able to be doing that. I just, leave that to whoever else. And as for the website stuff, that's great. I think it's irresponsible, and I've always struggled with that. So while I see the purpose of a website, obviously, do I agree with what that looks like? I just don't. I'm sorry, I just don't. And I don't like ever allowing for a buy now button because you don't know who is. Do you know that their setup is correct? No. Do you know that they had the proper questions, or even they thought they were doing the right things, but they actually weren't? And that's a lot of times. So you have to take the time before they get the fish to make sure that they're actually doing things correctly so that you can teach them, they can see, understand it, then get the fish. Not, oh, I'm just sending you out a fish and sink or swim, bud. Oh, yeah. So, no, that's just all faulty. So, for me, I like to keep it, we're working one-on-one together. Any reviews you ever see are going to say absolutely nothing but what I'm telling you right now. So, I take my time with you guys, even if that means, and it has happened plenty, where we're discussing things and they're learning and they're trying to understand it. They finally get like all the pieces. All right, cool. Now make the decision if that's what you think is actually going to be best suited for you. Sometimes it's not. I'm still happy. I would rather take hours of time, over time, or even sometimes if I can at one chunk, explaining things to you guys and have you guys actually come to the conclusion with me that maybe you goldfish weren't, or whatever species I was in, maybe that isn't actually correct for you, and that's totally fine. I would rather spend the time with that and have you part ways with the idea of working with the species if that's what's actually best for everyone. There's never any hard feelings. I don't care. Always, the only thing that I'm caring about is that people are making wise, educated decisions and that their fish and / purchases are safe. That is the priority. So let's wrap this back around now to warranty. So my warranty is literally based on essentially your efforts. So are you going to receive a completely healthy fish, like inside and out, guaranteed? Yes, you are. Not just healthy, no. Like, put the thing straight in your tank. Don't mess around with that. I have already spent a lot of money and time ensuring that they have been preventatively treated for everything. There's nothing you're going to do. I mean nothing. There's nothing you're going to do that is going to give them any kind of upper hand at all past where I have already sent them out to you. That's a fact. It is done. No one, and you also won't find a single person who argues that point. And I have been in this for a very long time. Everyone, right to the tank. No complaints, no illness, nothing. So, again, the warranty, you're going to receive a healthy fish. You're going to receive excellent customer service even before and after. You'll also see that. I have people that 80% roughly of my business is actually all repeat customers, some of which, I like to develop relationships with people too. We talk about stuff that's not even anything to do with fish. Years later, literally years later, I have people that have been with me for almost 10 years. So just the same, I have a few, but they're not on Facebook, but I do know them in Oregon and Washington from even way before that. But just the same, so the warranty really is just however much effort you're going to put in. So let's say that you do this. You get fish, we took the time, we secured everything, you're good to go. The fish arrives, it's nice and healthy, you're super happy, and this is the thing. You're constantly, with any questions you have at all, or in the update videos, which I absolutely encourage you guys to always send me, because you know what I'm doing when I'm watching those update videos? I'm not just watching the fish nice and happy and healthy. What I'm doing is also assessing what I'm seeing all in the video, so that if I see something that I'm like, hey, this right here, can you take a moment with me? Let's get that. And again, all of this stuff you will find that no one argues with. There is not a single person that's going to be like, no, that's not true. There is not one. So the reality of it is, when you're doing that, you're sending me updates and I'm watching stuff and we're going through things together. And if I see too that you're taking the time and the actual deliverance of what we're doing so that you can actually actively learn, and I see that you're trying, and let's just say, so here's the difference here. Let's just say you are always doing that and you're always coming to me and we're always nailing down any little thing, any little details there will always be something, I assure you. There will always be something that you're trying to learn. It obviously, it could be totally not detrimental to anything, but you're just wanting to learn. If you're doing all that and and I can see that you're engaged and you're actually actively chasing the best you can do, always, even if you're already starting, because you and me will be going through stuff before you get the fish. So even if you're starting at a good point, there's always room for further knowledge and things. So if I see you're constantly try, and there's, and I mean, I've been in this for a very long time, so there's not anything to be left to the imagination. I can see what happened and everything else like that and analyze it very accurately even. I help people assess this kind of stuff that don't even have my fish all day long with exceptional results and speedy, like very, very, very fast, precise. So if I see that you tried, and let's just say something happened, like, for example here, because this one did happen. Fish were all happy and healthy, I think it was like a month and a half ago or something. But so their heater broke. And they were like, oh my gosh, I just got home. What's going on? And what ultimately would happen is it literally zapped the fish. So one fish actually, surprisingly, lived through that. The other one did not. What did I do? I sent them a replacement fish anyways. It had already been like a month. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, cool. Just pick yourself up. Let's brush our knees off and let's both move forward together, because I know you're trying and I know this was not your fault. So I'm not just going to be like, well, I don't know, It's not my loss to take. This is part of the industry. No, I don't do that. So this is the kind of thing that I mean. If I see you're doing what you need, and I even have people that like 3, 4, 6, 8 months later have like a really prized thing, like who knows what it would be, because I've like I said, I mean, I sell a lot of fish still, but and many things pop up over time, like accumulatively. It's very rare, very, very, very rare, but it does happen sometimes. Life happens. So, but again, those people, do you just walk away from that? No. They did everything that they were trying to. And because they were trying and truly trying, I feel like even in the cases of like 8 months out, that's pretty extreme. But there's definitely times in the past where I have even been like, that's not right. We're going to get you squared away again. We can move forward after that. Okay? And I do. And they, like I said, nothing I'm saying is not going to be something that you can verify being true. It is all true. So, which is why I'm saying it openly on here. So, now let's say that you start strong and you are, doing stuff like randomly adding stuff to your aquarium that I had warned you cannot do. This also does happen. Luckily, thank God, it's pretty rare, but again, it does happen. So let's say, and usually too, even by then it's already been like 3 months. 2 months is pretty rare. Usually people stay pretty strong throughout the process, but there's definitely the people who get that antsy and start adding stuff. Then they are like, oh, what do I do? Do I still help them? I will. I do. And I get them squared away. Now, am I going to be as apt to be like, oh, now let me replace that fish that I have, frankly, no business replacing? But because of passion, I would normally do that if you had not done the exact things that we already knew would get you into this place. I'm not. So that obviously is going to be a case where your own lack is going to be what screwed you. So again, all of this is above and beyond. I have technically no business doing any of this. You receive a healthy fish, it's in there. I'm teaching you before and after. Everything is squared away. Now it's up to you to do your job. And it is your job. You're getting a fish and you're caring for it properly. You already have all the tools because I've already given them to you. And now it is your job to secure that future. It's not my job. I can't I can't be there for literally at this point like thousands of people. I can't be there holding your hand all day long every time. You got to reach out to me so you can actually learn. And I do actually enjoy even engaging in things where it allows me to, and even in the case people do, again, no one will argue this. Even in the case people are like, but I just want to add, oh no. It still allows me to show them, all right, well, and it kind of irks you, honestly. We're supposed to all be on the same page with this. But I still will take the time, okay, let's walk through this. And I'm now going to show you in a manner that will actually show you in front of you that you can see what you just did literally caused the problem so that you don't do it again. No other variables here. I'll walk you through step by step because I do actually understand the entire thing way too grossly thorough. You're not, there's not going to be something that you're like, oh, but what? No, that is not going to happen. So when then that case comes, I will get them to where their fish is safe and I will show them in a manner so they can see, okay, now we're going to put this evidence right in front of you so you can see and you can understand the severity of this. Not only did you experience the exact thing I told you you'd experience if you did this, but now you're going to actually see whatever the case, whether it be, wood in the tank and, you get illness, whatever, plants from the fish shop, any of this stuff. I mean, so many things over time where they're like going bare tank and they're doing real good with that. They're keeping up on maintenance and then they go and add substrate plants and lack on water changes and then bam. Okay, so you literally just did everything you should not have done. So now we're going to show you in that case it's actually pretty easy. What? We're going to actually go through. You're going to remove the substrate. Keep everything else in there. Oh, it massively improved. Okay, great. Now you're going to go through, you're going to move this. And now you're going to do that. However I can show in steps so they can see irrefutably that what they were doing was the problem. And then you pick yourself up, you dust it off, and you move forward. But it's all geared around teaching. Literally 2/3 of my job, you would think it should be caring for fish that I have and then also supplying good fish. But that is not, in my opinion, what my job is. My job is a teacher. Because if you have the ability to do something and you're not doing it and you're supposed to be helping people, you're supposed to be a positive part of their life, but then you're lacking on that, stating, well, I did my job, so I'm washing my hands of this and then I'm going to move on. Sink or swim. Oh, go out to the groups. We all know that the groups are full of just absolutely trash. So, okay, cool. So how can you actively say that to them and then expect them to succeed? You set them up for failure. It is your responsibility at that point. You failed them. So, again, if you ask about my warranty, I don't really care about it. This is why. I just stated it all right here. I don't really care. I don't really care. You have nothing to worry about. There is absolutely nothing. And I have actually not even ever, because I started my venture in fish as a business actually with larger fish. So when I finally was able to kind of cork into the right spot to be doing goldfish, I had already, my advancement in that was already so high that I can actually ship large, dangerous fish to ship easier than I like to do smaller fish even, like, let's just say like betas and such. Now granted, my beta stuff, or even guppies, any of that stuff, my DOA rate was actually better than anyone that I know, and even still. You also can't find anyone that can argue that one. My DOA rate, it literally took my boxes on occasion, this happened 3 times to me that I can think of in my head, where they actually literally crushed the box entirely. And even then, I actually, at one of those, had half the fish live. I'm not even joking. In a bag that was sitting there, and they just put it in a bag, slapped the new label on it, and still brought it to them. There was still fish alive in there. So, again, or I had, here's one for you. In the middle of winter, I had 2 boxes that were lost in the mail. One was 13 days, one was 12 days or 11 days. I cannot remember. Both of those actually still arrived alive. One of those 2 did require a little bit of extra love, but did totally bounce back. Regardless, that's an awful long time to be sitting in that situation and actually still make it out okay. So the point is, with the shipping, I've never had a goldfish die. I've never had someone receive a DOA. There is always a time for a first, but I've yet to see it come. And I've sent fish that are anywhere from 3 inches. Honestly, I mostly ship fish that are like 5 inches and up. That's the truth. I'm a big person on the big jumbos. So I like shipping. I like dealing with, having, I like the stuff that's even mostly like 7 inches and up, or like 6 as a. I like the big stuff. So I ship that big stuff very easily. There's no adjustment period. You'll see people, too, like, if you go and you ask or just observe what people are saying, there is no adjustment period. What adjustment period? You had like either nothing at all, or you had literally a few hours. And the few hours, that's it. You don't see anyone ever saying that my fish took days to come around. You don't see anyone saying that my fish arrived pretty damn stunned. You don't see anyone saying any of this stuff. And this is all because that's stuff that other people are experiencing, and then the sellers just make it seem like, oh, that's obviously so normal because fish are delicate. That is not the truth. That is not the truth. Because if they were doing everything that I was doing and the ways that I was doing it, then they would have the same success that I have. And I've had it for years. This isn't a track record that I hold for 2 months, 6 months, even 1 year. This is a track record that I hold my entire time. I always am advancing and stuff. So this, and again, you cannot find someone who will tell you that what I'm saying is not true. There's many people who have known me for very long. Professionals in many different fields, even involving animal care, wild bodies of water, all this stuff. You won't find anyone that's jumping out being like, hey, he's wrong. I'm posting this publicly, so anyone that would see it can have at it. They won't. The things that I'm teaching you guys and everything, they are very, very, very solid. And they are also as raw truth as you can get. So, again, you won't find people saying, oh, they were hard to adjust. You won't find people saying, oh, they barely was eating and all this, and oh, they only, accepted this and this and this. You won't see any of these things that other people are saying are like standard practice or standard problems, because they aren't truly something that you should be dealing with. So when you're, again, back to the warranty now, when you're asking about warranty or anything, understand, when you get the fish, you're going to get the fish, and it's just going to be there, immediately good to go. Like, hey, here I am, let's do this. Okay, great. Let's let's have a good time. That's what we're supposed to be having from day one. That doesn't entail you having to go and play veterinary care after you receive the fish. That's bullshit. Pardon my French, but that's bullshit. That's the seller's job, not your job. And they should have already understood as well. And if they're not that advanced, they have certainly no business even dealing you with fish. What the hell? So, regardless, You wouldn't buy a new car that was like, well, who knows what's wrong with it? It could be through the hoops. Not really sure. It's got a bunch of miles on it already, even too. And yeah, maybe it even just, there was some mechanics that thought they would just MacGyver some stuff in it because, it's the track record's kind of so-so. But you see the car now and it seems to be driving at this moment. So, hey, pay us a new car price. No, I don't think so. So why would that be doing, you're not going to go out and you're not going to buy a show dog or horse or any of this without extremely thorough checkups and health and all this, like vaccinations and I don't know why it has just been so easily accepted into the fish industry as just everything is just always such a shit show. That's not normal. That's not normal. So, and again, trust me, I know, because even in me dealing with all sorts of outside stuff that I am attaining from too, I'm having to clean up the messes for you guys so that you don't receive any messes. I understand very well the mentality out there, why things are happening and all that stuff, but it is up to the crowd to also stand firm on the ground and say, no, this isn't right, screw you. And that is something that needs to happen more regularly. And unfortunately, there is a lot of pressure that I understand. There's a lot of pressure when you see people that have only done, like, for example here, like one-time purchases from someone. And then they're like, oh, well, this one transaction went really well for these 3 months. It could even be problems that were already going to be coming down later down the road from that same fish that you... It's all situational here. But just the same. So let's just say you have like 1 million people who only bought one fish from you. And then the number of problems over time is even reasonably small, let's say. Okay, great. But now let's say you have one person that has been over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Oh, and then they're experiencing all these problems. Right, because they had a better dose. And you could say, well, all these individual purchases all sure equal up to a really nice, a review, right? Because it's all compilative. Well, not when you take into consideration, and trust me, because I know, because I talk to all their customers when they're mad and they're literally like depressed, defeated, and everything else, and then they don't say anything because they feel ashamed because the people out in the groups still perpetuate this stuff. So if they jump in and they say something, it's a big bomb, and then everyone just starts basically pecking at them. It's not right. So you understand this. You understand what the hell you're looking at when you're looking at these people saying like, oh, I really like this. Oh, well, I really like this. Yeah, how many times have you dealt with them? And in what cases? What was the history with it? What is everything else? And just because someone gets a review on one fish and they answered a few questions, because a lot of sellers, they're just pretty shut up about stuff. So, but let's just say that they are even one that was like, oh, I answered, like let's say 10 questions for you. And then you get this review. And trust me, because I like I said, everything I'm saying right now is all related directly to some pretty big seller, like many, but they will even leave them a review. Then they don't take it down even. Sometimes they do, good for them, but sometimes they don't. And they just leave it and they run and that's it. And they learn their lesson, they pick up and they leave. But just the same, they'll be like, oh, they were great. They had great customer service. They answered all my questions and blah, 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 blah. And then they get the fish. Oh, it was so nice. Here's your review. And then what happens is later on when they're having problems or they're asking them questions or something and they're blaming them for what happened and all this. This is all real stuff that happened. And if you go down in my comments even, you'll see some people that actually are voiceless enough to speak out on this. So they literally place the blame on them. They refuse to do anything for them. They literally stop all customer service. They accost them and then they shame them. And that's it. And they move on. And then, or they just say, I'm not doing anything for you. You can buy another fish. There's all sorts of things that happens with that. So you got to understand too, when you're looking at this, you got to look at the reviews not as a surface thing. You need to find reviews that are long track record. Like, people who are voicing stuff that have been with them for a very long time, not a short time. It's easy to basically bust out the gate strong and have a bunch of short reviews for people who have only dealt with you for a very short amount of time. Very easy to do. Find people who have been with them for years and then see what those people say, because those people have been around very, very long each time to go through that. But also look what they're saying as well as far as the condition of the animal. Don't just pay attention to them thinking that things are okay and that that's just stuff. Because a lot of the times too, they'll be saying things are okay that are actually generally accepted but totally not okay. You shouldn't be dealing with that stuff to begin with. But it's generally accepted. Oh, well, we just have to, as buyers, shell out all this money to do this, and we have to know, okay, well, we got to quarantine this fish and we got to watch for all this and buy these meds. No, all that's false. Don't, stop. That's not true. That's their job, not yours. So anyways, just pay attention to these things, because I swear so many things are so avoidable, but people got to look in the right places, and they also they gotta think past the immediate. They gotta dig. They gotta look and see, like I said, long-standing voices, not short. Stop being short, because But anyways, enough of this rambling. The warranty stuff, you're covered. You're fine. You don't even get to think about it. It's seriously not even anything that needs to be given any thought to. It doesn't matter. So. I'm not saying it doesn't matter as being dismissive. I'm saying it doesn't matter because it literally doesn't matter. What you do matters with me. That's what matters. But even then, even if you failed in 1 month, 3 weeks or whatever, still that has total opportunity to not even matter. I mean, it's sad, it's whatever, but like I said, case by case here, looking at that, it doesn't matter. If do your best. Try. Show initiative. Always be asking questions. Never sit there and be like, well, oh no, this is happening, so I better just stay quiet and not message him. No, message me. Message me, because you know what? I can fix anything that you're sitting there pondering on thinking about fixing, or wondering, hey, what am I maybe seeing here? I can fix it in literally split seconds, and you'll not find anyone that says any different. Like I said, nothing I'm saying here, you will find a single person that says anything otherwise. And there's a lot of them. So, it's just always reach out to me, always show initiative, always be showing the drive to succeed. That's going to go a long ways. But past that, again, like as far as warranty goes, all of this stuff that I'm talking about that I do moving forward with you guys, that is all extra. That's not owed. That's not anything else. And I still do it. And like I said, no one can say any otherwise. So, again, we should all be a team, not separate. That's total bullshit. Sellers should not be in it for, essentially money purposes and their growth. No, we are in this all together as a total growth. If the customers aren't growing in their hobby and their joy and excitement and success, you have no business doing what it is that you're doing and still making a living. Because what you're doing is you're just passing on a bunch of headaches and causing these people who are actually literally only coming to you for joy. That is it. It's the only reason they came to you was because it was passion, hobby, love, excitement, all these things. And it is your job to make sure that that's what they get. It could be $1 fish. It could be $500. It could be $1,000. Your job was the same, my friend. It really was. It was the same. Your job and your deliverance of everything was the same. Your responsibilities were actually, believe it or not, the same. It is all the same. Do your jobs. Watch for professionals who are actually going to say do what the hell they say they're doing. I even just had a spat with one last night. I'm freaking fed up with it. So, again, based over excess expenses and lacking and claiming that professionals aren't veterinaries, so they shouldn't have to, no one can catch everything. No one should be, it's not their job to ensure, thorough health on that. They just know what they see, and if they see it and it looks healthy, that was their job, and they send it out. Past that, it's basically whatever. Jesus take the wheel. Like that's literally the mindset that, at best, even that these people have, and it's just as a professional, it's freaking angering. It's so angering, because it's like I'm playing cleanup on their trash. Because, like I said, so many people coming to me with fish from other, these other sellers, literally all but one that I know of. like all but one, I can say this sincerely, their customers come to me. Even after dealing with them for a while, running into one huge headache, and then watching the aftermath of what they did for you. And they come to me, and then they get everything squared away like fast. But again, I don't mind helping people. It's my passion. It's what we should all be doing. It's what we should strive for. And as a professional, it's your job to make sure that you're doing it too. But again, I'm playing cleanup for all these other fools of what they should be doing. Stop listening to excuses. Don't accept their trash. Because what they're telling you and shooting you down with, if you were actually doing things correctly and trying, or even if you thought you were doing everything correctly and you were trying, and then they just shun you away, that's not okay. So anyways, I'm going to end this video. I do have other stuff I got to be doing right now, but I wanted to post this just so that everyone saw about warranty, review, DOA, all that stuff. Let's just say that, the gods weren't in my favor on something, and you did receive what would actually be the first DOA goldfish that I've had. Let's just say that you did have that happen. What does it look like for you? Well, it's going to look like you get a complete refund, or you get a fish of your choice, and I pay the shipping, because it was my job to ensure that you got exactly what it was that you paid for and exactly what it was that you wanted. And it was my job, regardless of what that mailing office did, because I'm the one, right? You came to me for a service, and that starts from the beginning to the end, right? So you don't hide behind these things of like, well, they did this and this and this. I see how some sellers would have policies of that. I do, believe me, I do, because thank God for me, it's pretty rare. For some, it's not, especially the people who sell cheaper stuff. But because it's like the cheaper things are, the screwier things can get with corruption as far as people that would be coming to you as customers and stuff like that. There really is a lot to be said for that. But just the same, so I see where they're coming at. But to be able to use that as a blanket where they're always hiding behind it of like, oh, well, this is just typical. Oh, well, they bashed that box. Oh, well, they're bashing my packages too and everything. And you know what? I'm not having those problems. So stop using that as an excuse. Stop hiding behind things that you know are doors that you can just open and close. Stop. There's no policy protecting you here. There shouldn't be. If it's a screwed up customer, and they do exist, I know they do, then fine. But then, as a good seller and a good reputation and everything, I assure you that the people out there too are going to immediately know who was in the right or wrong, because they've experienced you over a very long time. So it's not even going to do anything to you if you have a bad one. It's going to be a headache because you're going to lose some money that you should not have actually honestly lost. But just the same, stop using policies to hide behind and do stuff like that. Proof's in the pudding here. I have some policies that are on my website that I was warned that I should have quite a while ago on my older websites. And so I put them up, but even then, I literally never used them. I haven't actually ever used those policies once, not once. Like truthfully, not even in the situation of back in betas when I had this customer, scammer from hell. PayPal warned, don't accept that payment. I already sent her out the fish because she bought fish from me before. Sent out the fish, she stopped payment. Got the fish, then was like, oh, look, they're all dying, and they actually weren't even dying. And then so she literally was doing things that I said, don't do that. And so she was going and doing that too. A few of them died. She stopped the problems before I sent the other fish. So I sent the fish and a bunch more fish. And then she ended up actually going and entering my fish that she stated were dead into a contest freshly, and was conversating with people. And she ended up getting removed from the group. Ended up having to forfeit the winning of the contest, all this stuff. She was a nightmare, a complete nightmare for a very long time too. Eventually, she actually did end up having to essentially be forced to send me the payment because everyone was closing her out of all the groups. I had every bit of information, every bit of the whole thing from the very beginning to the end, and I posted all of it for everyone to see. It got shut down pretty quick. But again, but it goes to show you though, even then, there was no policy that I used. It's common sense, right, to know who's at fault and what happened just now, right? So again, that's a whole nother topic, but just the same, warranty, it does not, it doesn't matter. I don't hide. So As a matter of fact, I do the opposite of hiding. And when there's a challenge to overcome, I get my gear on and I go fuck, you know. So even if it's something that's like a pretty good head challenge, I love it. It's good. It gets you thinking. So again, but it all boils down to protecting the customer and the fish and the passion of and the future of this industry. So anyways, enough of this. It's 35 minutes. So